Hello YouTube, this is the HVAC Budget channel. Tonight bringing you another tool video of an Electrician's Multitool. There's not very many different variations of these. I've already gone over the Performance Multitool. This is the one that I believe it's Advanced Auto Parts sells and also Amazon. With this one of the big negatives is that it seems to bind up on the jaws and it makes it basically unusable at times. It can bind up like right there and then you can't use it. The tool set isn't just too bad in the handles, the knives and so forth. Some of the screwdrivers and the implements, they're not good, but they're not awful. But unfortunately, because the jaws bind up, this one I set aside and I began looking again for something that would work as a wire stripper head for something daily work use. So the next tool I ran across was the L tool, or the lighting tool. This is by King Innovation. I really like the design of this. I really wanted to like this, and I still do like the head of it. The wire stripper head is very heavy duty, very nice. No complaints about that. Still works very nice. But unfortunately, this is just too cheap. The implements, they have a lot of wobble even when they lock, so much that the screwdrivers basically become unusable for practical everyday use. So for now, I have also retired the King Innovation L tool. Maybe I can find a use for it later on. I may use some of the tools, or maybe I'll find a way to sort of fix the locking mechanism. But for now, I do not use this on a regular basis at all. And the other unfortunate thing is that the head is so big that this really, I've not found hardly any other tool that this will work with where I can transplant the wire stripper plier head and use it in another multi-tool. So that brings us to this hyper tough multi-tool I found at Walmart. Now I have seen this. So I believe there's many different models of this. You find that, I believe it's Westward or some company like that sells this on eBay. There is a Fastnail version that goes for about 10 bucks, but this one I found at Walmart. This was a little bit pricier at 17, but I saw it in stock and I thought I would try it out. So looking at the packaging, it's again fairly underwhelming. There's not much that it talks about. There's not much description at all. I'm sure the material of the knife blades is not very high quality. This is a very heavy multi-tool. That's one of my first initial impressions how heavy this is. A very heavy multi-tool. And starting with some of these implements, you've got what looks like a wood saw on this handle. You've got a Phillips screwdriver, which I am not super impressed with. It does work, I suppose. I really, to be honest, I've just been using the wire stripper head to see how that works. These implements do not lock, and more on that later. This is, I guess, to pull the wires through the hole, sort of like a fish hook, and then this is your file. Again, I do not have much use for files. I guess I probably could find a use for it. I've heard some people sharpen their knives with it, but I don't use the file very much. So this is a combination knife. I figured that this knife wasn't worth too much, so I actually use it to enlarge a hole in metal, and I think I ruined it a little bit, but it held up not too bad. And these are the screwdriver blades, and this is your, I guess, electrician knife blade. I think this is the sort of made for electricians. So about these tools, again, this is not locking. So again, you'll find that there is a lot of play in here. And when you, especially when you close this up, and you are using this, One of the things, especially if you're like tightening or trying to loosen a screw, there is just some normal play. And what I have happened to me is these tools just fold over. And I've even had that happen, I think, with the knife when I was trying to use it. Again, I think I was trying to use it more like a drill bit, which is not designed to be used. But these tools, I'm not very impressed with at all. Unfortunately, they sort of live up to the reputation of just cheap tools. But I have been, on the other hand, very pleasantly surprised with the Electrician's Multitool, the head. So this really seems to work good. So you'll notice there is a little bit of a difference between these two heads. The Walmart Hyper Tool version has more of a narrow jaw, while the Amazon, the Auto Parts Performance Tool version has a thicker jaw set. I believe it looks like the Walmart tool might be a little bit better fit, maybe machined a little bit better. Maybe it was just the plier head that I got. But one of the other things I've noticed is I feel like this locking mechanism on this particular plier just sort of is not a good feature. I feel like that contributed to the failure. I'm not sure why, but on both this King Innovation, which does not have the locking feature, and even this cheap Walmart multi-tool, I have not had that same binding where right here at the cutting jaws on this performance tool, it would basically stop, and I could not even use the cutting or the plier function. It would stop about right there. When you rotate, put a certain pressure on the head, it gets caught about right there. So one of the good things about this Walmart multi-tool is this one does not seem to suffer from that. I've been using this for about a week now, carrying this, using it for the light task at work, cutting my wires. I actually took the wire strippers out of my tool bucket, and I've just been using this predominantly all the time, and it's done a pretty good job. I even used it today for some household chores. Now, another thing to notice about this Walmart multi-tool is the head is smaller. So one of the things I hope to do is actually use this on other multi-tools, and then I won't have to worry about the inferior tool parts, but I can actually use this on a multi-tool that has better tools. So I'll try to keep you updated in the future. We'll see if that works. But one of the compromises I wanted to mention is the King Innovation. Look at that nice cutting surface right there, very deep. You can cut some pretty big wires with that, very nice. Again, with this one, maybe not quite as long, but still you've got a good cutting surface. But then on this Walmart multi-tool, notice because they made the plier head smaller, that cutting surface is also smaller. I happen to think that it's still okay. I seem to be able to still cut like 10 gauge wire and so forth. It still seems to be deep enough. But one of the multi-tools, if you really research, is Behr & Sons. And one of the things they run into is their multi-head has hardly any cutting surface at all. But this Walmart Hyper Tough version does seem to. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. It seems to be fairly good quality. That's talking about the wire stripper head, not the tools. The tools are pretty much standard, cheap, Family Dollar style tools. They're very, very cheap. But the head, I've been pleasantly surprised. It has stood up to the work that I've put to it. So we find also that the Hyper Tough multi-tool does come with this pouch. Fairly standard pouch, nicer than some of the other pouches I found. A little stiff, just got your normal belt loop. That is also included. So this is $17. Again, I think you can find a version of this tool cheaper elsewhere, but this has seemed to prove to be a fairly good multi-tool. So you can go to your local Walmart, test it out yourself. Again, only recommending the head portion of this. The rest of the tools I do not feel like are probably worth the metal they're made on. But the multi-tool head is very good. All right, hope this helps. I'll catch you in the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.